Coffee out of an assault straw. It's a little too hot for that. All right, hey, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am, of course, Pastor Joe Fox. Today's video, I'm going to talk about another form of bug out location and establishing rules and protocols thereat. It is totally based on a video I watched last night on the Revolting Man's channel, where he was talking with Wes S. But first, a word from our sponsors. I'm sitting in a chair. You may be seeing more videos of me sitting in a chair. I really like it. TJ gave it to me. Gave one to Sister Kate also. And this table right here was made by Squid. TJ is, of course, Bear. Their channel is Squid and Bear on YouTube. So thanks, guys, again. It's a great chair. It's a great table. I think the table weighs more than the chair. So I'm gonna talk about that, and I've been thinking about this video. I may put it on YouTube after we see it, just so people on YouTube can get some kind of flavor of what we talk about almost every day here on Patreon, and hopefully, shamelessly, I'm trying to get them to come over and join the crowd, right? All right. So we are establishing a nationwide network, Operation Ragnar. And I'm not going to go into the details of that too much in this video, but it's kind of related to that. And so the Revolting Man was talking with Wes, and he had said something in one video, and I did another video on it called You Don't Live in Your Bug Out Location. You remember that one? And then he was kind of spinning off of that. And Wes was talking about the beauty of having multiple locations to which one could flee. So if your region gets schwacked by whatever, you can go to another region. I talk about that a lot, right? Also, if you have to travel from point A to point B all the way across the country, it would be nice to know people and have pre-made arrangements with them all the way across the country, so that should the need arise, you have allies, right? And so they were talking about that, but then it got down to logistics and rules. And again, if I mischaracterize things, the Revolting Man knows me well enough now. I'm just using his video and what I remember of it, which may not even be correct, as a springboard for discussion here. So from this point out, it's not really about their video. It's just I grabbed some ideas, it spurred something in my head, and we took off. So the first thing is logistics. Let's say I have a family, me, my wife, and 3 children. And I make a deal with you. It's just you and your spouse. The kids have grown and left the house. And the deal is basically mi casa su casa. If something happens to me here, we know that we can flee to your place, and if something happens to you there, you know you can flee to our place, and we'll take you in and make you part of the family and tribe. Well, that's a bit of a lopsided deal, because there's 5 of us, me, my wife, and 3 kids, and there's 2 of you, right? And so what do we do about food? What do we do about toilet paper? In an equal situation, let's go back to an equal situation, and we'll come back to the unequal situation. Let's say I make that deal with another family that has, husband, wife, and 3 kids. Okay, well, we can just agree that we're going to store extra food and stuff, toilet paper, whatever, with the idea that we're going to keep it fair and equal. So if I've got a year's supply of food for me, and then I tell you, all right, I've now got a year's supply of food for you too, I'm expecting you to tell me you have a year's supply of food for you, and now you also have a year's supply of food for me. Trust. What did Ronald Reagan say? Trust, but verify, right? So you should, if it's somebody who you think you may be bugging out to their place, and the world goes topsy-turvy, you should be spending a little bit of time at their place. Take your vacation there. Instead of going to Disneyland and getting your kids molested, go to their place and hang out and go fishing and have a barbecue and talk long into the night and say, hey, let me see your pantry. Right? And it shouldn't even be sneaky. It should be wide open. Yep, hey, look, man, here's the food for us, and here's the food I've got set aside for y'all. It shouldn't be anything sneaky about that. Same thing on your place. Could you do it with pictures? Yes, you could do pictures and send it. That gets into more OPSEC-y things because, now they have it. Oh, my God. I'm doing another video on that probably tomorrow, only for Patreon. Paranoia Trust Network, that kind of thing. Getting a lot of questions here on that. But that's a way, right? You just store for the other person. Now let's go back to the couple versus the family. Hey, you can't say you all store for 5 people and we'll store extra for 2. That's not fair. And so what you're going to have to do is either give them money by whatever means to buy the stuff for you to store there, or, maybe 3 people's worth, right? And have them store an extra 2 people's worth since they're already 2 people. Or you could buy it and send it to them, or buy it and have it shipped to them if you wanted to go that route too, to keep it fair. But I'm telling you, these things should be inspectable. There should be no surprises when the balloon goes up, when the storm comes. You should know what you're getting into. Now, yes, I am talking about not just one of these places, but many. So, I don't have enough money to store food in 6 different places all across the country, or store food for 6 different families to come here. Number one, most of you, yes, you do. Food's not that expensive. I think I did a video, I think it's on YouTube, about a year or so ago, where we just stopped by Sam's and spent $400 and got enough food in buckets for 1 person for 1 year. I have 6 children and grandma living with me and I'm on disability. I can't do it. That'll be a comment on YouTube. It won't be here on Patreon. Work it out. So that's a technique. Now, are there other ways? Absolutely. There are no hard, fast rules. And because you set up a deal one way with one lily pad that you're going to land on, doesn't mean you set up the same deal with somebody else. It could be different deals. Have a flexible mind. Be able to think out and work outside of the box. The key here is to build in flexibility for you and yours so that you've got someplace to run to, right? Okay. That should at least get the wheels turning. I'll just give you a quick little story and then we'll keep going. I had a friend and we were talking about doing this, and he lived many states away, and it was he and his wife, and it was getting down to just me and my wife. My kids were leaving the house, and we were getting ready to send each other money to buy each other food. That's dumb. We just said, hey, I'll just put up more food. And I've known this guy forever, and I know he did. I guess another concept on that is, I was talking about this with some people yesterday or the day before. It's just like a defensive position. You are never done improving your position. You constantly work on it to make it better and better and better. Food. Right? I mean, I don't have time to go into it in this video. You cannot make it on your own. I'm not even going to go there. If you don't understand that, you need to go back 100 videos and watch. To the extent you can, you should be storing extra food for that Special Forces medic and his wife who believe everything you believe, who come walking down the road and you decide, yeah, I think I want to make him part of my group. Come on in. I can feed you. I need you to do what you do, right? Because you got to feed the people. People got to be fed. And you can only feed what you can feed. And you're not going to want to take any rice out of your little girl's mouth to feed to this person. You're going to want to have both of them covered. All right, so let's talk about that. The other thing that the Revolting Man and Wes S. were discussing, and again, as I recall it, I think the Revolting Man was making it a lot more complicated than it had to be in his mind. Let's say I'm here and you and yours, and I'm not talking your group, I'm just talking your family, let's say, show up. Well, number one, it better be previously agreed to, or, we're going to plan B on that. But so you show up, we've agreed, yeah, if anything happens, you can come to my place. And, many of us, men, I'm talking from a man perspective, but it works from the female perspective too, but I'm just kind of thinking about this as I speak, so I'm kind of personalizing it. Many of us men are pretty aggressive, self-assured, in many cases, type A men. We're men. Men. And some people worry about clash of personalities, ways, strength, right? Grinding. I'm going to make this really personal. I have no plans with the Revolting Man, so I'm not giving up, any OPSEC or anything. But let's say I did have plans with the Revolting Man. Mi casa, su casa. If anything happens out there where you are, you can come here. If anything happens here, I'm coming there. Okay, so something happens here in this notional scenario, and my wife and I, show up at the Revolting Man's place. I'm a pretty hard-headed guy. I've got definite opinions and ideas on things, and you know what? So does he. So how do we decide things? I say, no, that's a dumb idea. He says, too bad, that's what we're going to do. I say, no, I think that's dumb. Your house, your rules. I think Wes said, my castle, my rules. Something like that. Yeah. That's cut, finish, start, stop, boom. Whoever is in charge is in charge. You got to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower, right? If you don't like the conditions, don't go there. If you no longer like the conditions once you're there, there's the gate. Bye-bye. To me, it's very simple. And so, yeah, I think the homeowner, landowner, facility owner gets to make all of the decisions. All of them. Now, if you don't like that, like I said, don't go, don't leave. There is, of course, finesse and caveats in there. I think I have something to bring to the table. Let's say, again, I'm at Revolting Man's place, and again, I'm just using this as an example, and he says, we need to eat all the rice and beans first. And I say, well, I think we should probably eat rice and beans, corn, and wheat equally. I'm just making up a ridiculous thing, right? And he goes, nope, we're going to eat the rice and beans first. I'm the kind of guy, I argue, I discuss until I get what I call the infantry point. No, rice and beans. Okay, boss, rice and beans. Can we put Tabasco on them? Right? You just got to do with it. On the other hand, a good leader recognizes goodness in his or her people. And so he could say, Joe, I want you to be in charge of this area while you're here. Any ideas you have, bounce them off of me before you execute them until we develop that trust. But for all general purposes, you're in charge of that area. Sister Kate, you're in charge of this. Work with, I don't know if he says his wife's name, work with my wife on that. That could work. And then you just start taking in the goodness. But you have to remember, everybody has to remember, man, this is not any more 20th, first century snowflake. I'm a special, unique individual, and you must respect me. This is real life, okay? And you just put yourself up under somebody else because you needed to go to their place to live. Baron, king, chieftain. You better get with the program. or out you go. And so to me, it's simple. My house, my rules. It would be good if people knew what those rules were going to be in advance, so that they don't, trek halfway across the country and get to your place and find out, oh no, you were dead serious when you said we are not eating pork or squirrels or rabbits or catfish on this retreat. You were serious about that? Mm-hmm. Should get that stuff out in the open, which is normal, right? You don't just automatically form this alliance with somebody. That's dumb on the internet. Okay, I've never met you, but I've seen you on 2 videos, so if anything happens, you can come to my place. No, man, you've got to sit around campfires, sit around living rooms, sit around the dinner table, push back, pull, full, work hard, sweat together. You have to get to know each other before you decide that we're going to join together in a potential life or death situation that affects not just you and me, but our families, right? You have to get to know people. And that process takes time, which brings us all the way back around to Operation Ragnar. And we're doing pretty good on phase 1, and I'm going to do another video on that just for Patreon, because some of you are already kind of starting to slip off the tracks a little bit there, and I want to kind of bring us back on. But it starts with you. Where's the camera? You. It starts with you. And you've got to get out there and meet people and talk to people and get this stuff out in the open and discuss things and not just wish it to be so. But to recap, have your food and supplies situation sorted out. For some preppers, you have enough guns in your gun safes, to outfit a lot of people. So you can tell the people, I know you're bringing guns, but if you show up without one, I'm giving you this one, But get your logistics sorted, because we all need people, but what we don't need is hungry people. We don't need starving people, right? And so you have to have that sorted. And there's many ways to do that. So start turning your head and getting that done. And then number 2, you've got to work out, and the Revolting Man was saying, how are we going to govern? That's a great question. There's a lot of ways to govern. Just look at world history and look at the world today. You have to pick one, right? But I lean towards authoritarian rule under benevolent leaders. That's how I lean, and I'm willing to be that leader, and I'm also willing to be that follower of that leader. Good leaders make good followers. A lot of people don't understand that. So that's my suggestion, but it would be good if all parties involved understood the rules as they were going to be up front. All right, I hope that at least gets you thinking. On Patreon, keep the comments coming, and we will keep churning that. I have at least 3 more videos in this series that we're going to, just based on this little conversation we had right here. So get planning. If you're not on Patreon, you ought to come over. It's a whole $1 a month. What does that equate to a day? 3 cents or something? I mean, come on. But, all right. This one was for you on YouTube. I'll let you guys see this one. We talk about this kind of stuff all the time. All right, Vikings, I'll be back.